There's another week having all kinds of things go wrong, particularly nationally lately. So I would appreciate if you would give us a moment of silence. Thank you. Ms. Mayor Pro Tem.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda adoption, any additions, deletions, or corrections? Not sure, anything, motion to adopt the agenda? All in favor, aye? Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Consent agenda, any additions, deletions, or corrections, there? Chair will entertain a motion to adopt. All those in favor, aye? Opposed, likewise, motion carries. 6, we have a public hearing. I'm going to open this now for the text amendment for wireless communication towers. Zach?
I'll go ahead and hand it over to Tim Daniels, regarding the planning board's recommendation.
So per your instructions, we drafted some text amendments to the wireless communication tower ordinances. The first one was SR 13, sections 3C and 3I. 3C originally read, "No tower shall be constructed in any zoning district other than the P1 district as defined on the official zoning map for the town of Tryon." The changes we made, we changed it to towers shall only be constructed in the P1 zoning district as defined on the official zoning map for the town of Tryon or within any other town-owned property. I don't know if you want to discuss any of that. And section I read, "No tower shall exceed 100 feet in height." We made the change to say, "No tower shall exceed 199 feet in height." We didn't go to 200 because 200 requires FAA lights and that kind of thing. It's a whole another set of hoops to jump through. The planning board of the town of Tryon voted unanimously on April 8th, 2021 to recommend in favor of the proposed changes regarding the height and location of the wireless towers. The changes are consistent with the town's comprehensive plan and any other officially adopted plans because of Special Rule 13B 3A provides SR 13B tower approval standards. Any proposed tower shall provide a needed service or benefit to the residents of Tryon and the surrounding area that cannot otherwise be met. Current restrictions on height in light of the topography of the region limits needed services to the residents of Tryon and the surrounding area, including emergency communications that cannot otherwise be met.
Okay, questions? Audience, questions? Yeah, so I need a vote to close this, can I close on this one?
Close the public hearing, you can take a vote or you can just close the public hearing.
Okay. I'll close this public hearing since there's no response. And can we vote on it this time? We'll have to wait the next
No,
one.
you can vote, so Tim passed out, I think everyone has it, the second page or something he just handed out, and we prepared a suggested motion. He basically just read it, but it's there in bold. And then I want you to vote on that and then vote on this written ordinance amending the current ordinance.
I make a motion to accept the suggested motion.
3 subsection C, subsection I. All those in favor, aye? All opposed, likewise, motion carries.
Now, a motion to adopt the ordinance amending special rule 13B, 3C, and B3I of the town of Tryon zoning ordinance, which is a document that officially makes the change.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, likewise. Motion carries.
What are you doing? May I sell service?
Item 7. 55 Melrose Avenue.
So as we discussed in the work session, we had a high bid that was legitimate of $160,000. It was not matched, given the parameters set forth in the advertisement. It is up to the board how they wish to move forward, whether or not they wish to accept or to reject.
I would make a motion to accept the $160 bid.
Prior to that, I would like to recuse myself. It's a board question.
You don't need it, you would only need it if you refuse to refuse.
Here's the
And
next one. Bill's motion is that we accept the $160,000 offer.
The big part of me wants to do that, however, when I'm looking at I think my responsibility is more to the town in getting as much money as we can for the property.
Okay, so you vote for accepting 160, you vote against 160.
I'm going to explain it this way, but I am going to vote against it, Bill, but I want to explain it this way. Right now, the seller's market in Polk County is trying, you can't even get anything listed. And everything's going well above the price, asking price, well above. So much so that there has to be explanations in the MLS as to why it showed that high. So, I'm going to,
Okay, so
yes.
it's defeated 2-1. Now, the next thing we need to do,
motion, that probably takes care of it, but I think the best thing would be a motion to reject all bids and start over, or reject all bids and solicit new higher bids.
Well, I'll make that motion.
okay,
And I will recuse myself.
all those in favor, aye? All opposed, likewise? Aye. Okay, motion carries. Now, we need to get that together and do this. Can you do this?
Yep.
Do we need to do anything else at this point?
No, I'll bring,
Assuming there's a sufficient bid through whatever means that comes in, we'll need to adopt a new resolution directing, let's say, bid to be advertised, just like last time. You need to have a vote to adopt a resolution that will prepare that is.
So we can go ahead and make that motion now, so that if we get another bid in, then we'd be ready for it. I mean, we can go ahead and start.
That's the question. Can we do that now? Or do we have to wait until it's typed up and ready?
we'll need to my knowledge, we'll need to have the offer typed up, prepared, so we'll bring it to the next council meeting.
Okay, or if you get it ready,
Yeah.
let us know.
You can have a special meeting if you want.
Yeah, and if we do, Troy, what time you get home about?
I can make it work. What time do you want to have?
Well, if we're gonna have a special meeting, just set a time, make it after 5, after 4.
Oh, definitely after 5.
Okay, so if you do that, just let us know, let's make it 5:30. So something that'll take 5 minutes, but I'd like you to be involved in that too.
Okay.
Okay, that's all we need to do then.
Yes.
Item 8.
So as far as this is the discussion of the Cranston review, Cranston finished engineering assessment. They do have some conclusions and recommendations, which we will be going through and working toward over the next couple of years. One is removing undesirable vegetation, working on the slope stability, the insufficient spillway capacity with the current spillway configuration, degradation of the surface of the concrete on the overflow spillway. Now, the concrete itself is in very good shape, but the surface is weathered as one can be expected for a dam as old as it. They would like a means of lowering the lake water level on a permanent basis, so we could raise and lower as needed. Basically, some standard things. They're also concerned about the bridge, but we will be at some point meeting with Cranston on next steps for this process, as well as other South Carolina state agencies.
Okay, thank you. Item 9.
Yeah, that's the oh, sorry. No, you're fine. So the next item is a letter from DHEC, South Carolina DHEC saying, dam safety conducting risk analysis. What they are proposing to do is to come in and take Cranston's figures, do a couple of site visits, take some more information for themselves, and they will package this into the way in which FEMA accepts their grant proposals, and they will allegedly help us apply for FEMA funding to fix some of these issues.
Sounds good. All right, item 10, tables and supplies.
Yeah, I would like you to vote on the authorization and release for DHEC to perform geotechnical investigation. It's basically just where they're allowed to be on our property.
Okay,
I make a motion.
all in favor, aye? Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Now, 10.
Number 10, this is table request for the plaza. There's an email attached. We had a couple, local business had some tables on the plaza. We had them removed. They would like to ask to place tables on the plaza, with your permission.
Why?
Were those iron tables that were removed?
No, they took their tables and put it on the other side of the plaza. Their reasoning is in the email below, but basically, they said they're getting full. I assume they're getting full because of
There's
the,
no reason, sir. As a matter of fact, I'm going to amend this request. I've several times politely requested that very visible signage be put on the plaza, noting that that is a public plaza.
How many tables are they talking about?
they had 3, I think. And they were black metal tables. There, if you look, I don't know if you remember the way it was set up, but they had that big maybe, just black wire tables, outdoor patio dining.
Right.
And they put them out because of the COVID restrictions for indoor dining. They were eating more outside.
So I don't understand, so they just, the tables they have now are not, it's just not enough, they just want to add 3?
Yeah, they put tables on the plaza. We received complaints about those tables on the plaza, asked them to remove them. They asked what their options were. I said, you can always ask the board to put those tables back. No guarantee, but, you know.
I mean, I like to, I mean, as long, I don't know who complained or whatever, but as long as, I like to help business. when we
You
can.
know, that could be 12 more people they seek and serve.
In the form of a motion, Bill?
I still think the problem is this. Uncle Barry, point blank, the upper management has told people they own that plaza.
Well,
And that is one thing, it's not true. That is a gift to the town of Tryon from Bob Lane. And it requires signage saying it's
I know that
a
it's,
plaza.
just because somebody said something doesn't make it so, but why? But I don't understand why we're trying to handcuff this business. I'll make a motion that we allow them 3 tables.
Bad blood, people make each other mad. And there are people who, if you go to the internet and watch and see and hear things, it will tend to upset people. And I think that's it in a nutshell.
This is not frustration. I have requests. Tell Tryon signage on that plaza stating what it is. Because we only hold a temporary easement on that property only as long as we operate in good faith.
Now, my question there is, if we put that up, and if the board agrees to it, since we've got this one, I think it takes a vote of the board to put that up.
Probably would.
Not just from one of us or two of us. I think it would take that, and then you gotta figure out how do you do it? Do you face what's there?
Well, you know, when people ride through town and see all those people sitting out there, it's good for the
It's
town.
good. I agree with you.
So I don't understand the strong opposition to it from you.
I am not strongly opposed. I won't get designated as a town tryout property. That's all I'm asking.
Would you come
I'll
up with
second Bill's.
suggestions? Would you come up with a suggestion on what it would look like, where you would put it?
Like the real town tribe side, we have 15 examples. Water plant, this is not rocket science. This should take a 30-second decision.
I know, I just don't understand what the need is.
Because no one really knows
Well,
unless.
most of the people that are sitting there eating are visiting the town. They do not care about the town politics. They just want something to eat and a couple of
People have, I mean, I see Buck's Pizza there, I see Lavender Bistro there, I see people bringing their own picnic and meeting friends there, I mean.
Because firstly, those people asked me when I went to those places to eat, and I said, the town's on it, you can go out there and serve if they wish. Everybody can. And I've not heard a complaint since then, since I said those two things.
Anyway, I made a motion that we let them go through
I'll say.
I mean,
three.
okay, we have a motion, all those in favor, aye?
I,
All opposed likewise? Okay, hearing none. Now, I've got to go back and ask this question, since we're going to continue to hear this. Maybe an idea, something like this with a picture of it, explaining what everything is, I don't know where it was made, I don't know any of that. Something to think about.
Or
When
if
it's done, I want to see it tasted.
we talk about a sign,
Yeah, we're gonna do, we can do
well,
something like this.
you could put something up there that said this area was donated by.
probably to the town of Tryon.
At the post or wherever, but I don't think it's important, but you can see on something like that.
Mark, could I ask you to have that document prepared at the next council meeting
Board document.
for signing?
Yeah.
All right, I will, get on calendar.
So for the request of Mr. Armbrust, here are the figures, that we put in for the cost of building a gate on town that would be a permanent structure, that we would have to then maintain.
I didn't know we were talking about a gate on.
That was a request,
Oh,
but please clarify. Town Tryon not paying for this.
Yeah, the Nina Simone project would be paying for this.
I mean, is it one gate or two gates?
Basically, two gates. One would be on my property, one would be on the town's property. But the municipal project would pay for the
what kind of gates, what do they look like?
to close the southern end of McGill Street to make it a safe venue. For the pictures that Zach and Travis, and it's based on that white picket fence out at Low and Leather and whatever.
It's just leather and leather.
Yeah. Zach has a picture of it. Is it not in the agenda?
The picture is not, no. I thought there was an email floating around that had a picture, but I can get the picture.
I never received an email.
I would like to see a picture, if we have a moment.
That's essential information.
Well, first, I think board needs to decide if we need a gate. whoever's paying for it.
I mean, if we're having a concert or public event, I mean, usually the fire department parks the truck there.
Right.
This is true.
So who's gonna be responsible for making sure that gate is open when it's supposed to be open and it doesn't
It's a lock
screen?
gate. It would be a lock gate.
But it doesn't screen forward.
It's locked to a post
I
when
understand
it's
that.
open.
Mhm. But I'm saying when it's, okay. So I will be driving through, I'm thinking, and for whatever reason, it gets swinging back and hit back my car.
It's locked, Sherelle.
Mhm. Well, we don't look at it. We need to look at it. I just don't want there to be any hazards with it.
Exactly. And I'm perfectly willing to just do a single game on rollers and mail it on the Nina Simone's land. I mean, that's an option as well. And that completely frees the town of liability. Because like the town of Tryon, I have a liability policy of $2 million.
Well, where does the Nina Simone property go? To 50 feet either side of the statue?
This is the land comprising the complete easement in perpetuity, i.e. forever, from north and southern. All land bounded by McCallum Street, Macklin Street, South Tree Street. So the whole downtown South Tree Street block belongs to the Nina Simone project. I.e. Morris is sitting on Nina Simone's land.
Okay, explain to me again where the placement of this is.
At the southern end,
No.
Side street.
Yeah, I know, side street, but it's going across the road, right?
when it's open, when it's closed.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's pushed back to the margin and locked to a boat.
Okay, that's my concern, is if someone, I know you said it's locked, but I'm sure someone.
You'd have to have a boat cutter. And that's a malice that I cannot control. So I recognize that malice exists in our community. Like every community.
I think it's unnecessary. And we,
I mean, how many feet?
40,
So each gate, we're gonna
Make
be
a
20
motion,
feet?
42.
Make a motion.
I mean, it would be, it'd be, what, the area we measured was around 35. Now, whether or not we measure the exact area that you're talking about, but we measured around 35.
35.
truthfully, I prefer not to see it again.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you know, this is, we've been using the Cowan Street for different things. The Cowan Street's been there.
Well, it's not gonna get built anytime soon, and we'll see how the fire engine works. I think the fire engine will work first tonight, and frankly, I would request,
Well, and
since that was your suggestion, that we use engine number 1, because our citizens rarely get to see that engine.
I mean, we'll have a fire truck out there regardless.
I'm requesting engine 1.
Engine one is the 1980s.
Wait,
Yeah.
no, what is our oldest?
The oldest is the Mack truck, and I'm not sure if that's engine one.
No, I would like our oldest.
I will see if we can have the oldest running by
Hold it
then.
up there with a chain. We've done it before.
I will see what we can do, but we are already staffing an EMT there for the day, so it'll be easier to take engine one, which is also a beautiful truck. But I'll see if we can get the old Mack running.
Okay. So we can move on. Item 12,
This is permission for alcohol consumption. As we've discussed, the Nina Simone concert on McAllen Street, the Triumph Arts and Crafts School fundraiser benefit, which will both be happening on May 1st. The Nina Simone concert is BYOB, essentially. The Arts and Crafts fundraiser benefit will be for those raising the funds to be able to have.
I make a motion, we allow both places.
Yeah, let me ask a question. Did you have a lady who's come with memorial service that asked for one also?
The Leonards?
Probably the letter.
No,
That would be-
this is Lucy Loney. I talked to her daughter, she was thinking about asking for one.
I have not heard from her,
Okay,
but we can,
okay, these two. She called me and I told her what to do and I thought she was gonna come, so maybe she changed her mind.
I haven't heard anything yet.
I think she was gonna hold it over at the park here.
Okay, if she's gonna do it over there, I'll talk with her. It's easily doable.
She was just gonna have mine.
Yeah, we can easily do that.
Okay. Chair, entertain a motion to adopt alcohol at these two places.
So move.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Item 13,
This is budget ordinance amendment number 3. It covers a couple of different things. We work in the new software that was approved in fiscal year 1920, which came out of this budget year, to new fire equipment and truck purchase and expenses for tire cleanup, equipment, maintenance, storm damage to the pipe on Carolina, Lake Lanier Dam inspection, all the work performed on the Braidwood sewer line. It recognizes higher revenues to attribute and pull from fund balance for the rest. It will make everything evened out for now, and as we get through the year, we'll do another budget amendment to recognize the revenues as they come in higher, as well as the revenues in water and sewer that'll help even everything out.
Chair, entertain a motion to adopt budget amendment number 3 is. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Item 14,
14 is budget discussion. All right, so we'll get into the budget. It's the same budget that you saw before. I do have one thing that I would like to show you. This is tax projections. This was in your packet. You can look on the board and see, basically what we're looking at. The 2021 value fiscal year was $158,321,136. That's every dollar that gets raised in this town, in the city limits. This year's value is around 194 million. So that's roughly 22.64% increase in overall property value. We can't pinpoint everyone's value, but it's safe to assume that we're going to use this as an average. So what I've done is I basically put in figures here. You can say that's the original value of your home. So let's say 50,000 all the way up to 350. This line here shows the projected increase for that property owner if they get the standard 22% increase. Shows your new projected value going upward. Then I have the original value and the old tax that you would pay on it. So if you have a $250,000 home and city taxes, you're paying $1,257. Coming down here, coming down here, your new projected value as well as the new tax, which is what the budget is being proposed at, which is 48.01 cents, which is lower than the 52 by about 2 cents. So we'd effectively be dropping taxes by 2 cents. We are going to make more money given the increase, and it'll show you the difference. So if we look at, say, for instance, a $250,000 home, you were paying $1,257 in taxes. That $257 home is now worth $306,600 roughly if it went up the standard 22%. Some have went up more, some have went down. But the new tax for that home would be $1,474.75. So theoretically, your $250,000 home if you go off the basic figures, your property taxes go up $217 a year for the city taxes. That doesn't include fire, that doesn't include county, that doesn't include Harmon Field, but that's the city tax rate that it says. So even at, say for instance, a $350,000 home, if it goes up 22%, that puts it at $429. And that $429 will now pay $2,064, which is $304,000. Or $304, sorry.
When did we last get figures?
Let's see. The last figures I received from Polk County were on 3/22.
Can we be reasonably assured that at some point, some of this is gonna go down because of people who are asking for adjustments?
So there are adjustments, there are exemptions, whether you're elderly or agriculture. It takes a while for those things to flesh out. I don't know when the county's ever gonna be finished with that. I'll ask them again. But there's also the idea that if you drop property tax, that affects car value, that's taxed, that appreciates, it does not appreciate, so it has to even itself out eventually. The county claims they're gonna raise, for fire, for instance, they're gonna raise a certain amount to offset that, but for us, we can't, we have to take that into consideration.
Is there an NDDD at which time Polk County has to declare what rate they're going to do?
Yeah, it would be they have to have something approved by July 30th, or June 30th. Yeah, sorry, it's gotta be the day before July 1.
The 300,000 there is almost exactly what mine went up.
Okay.
So I would pay $261 a year more.
Right.
Because the last time, mine dropped about that much, so I'm back where I was 8 years ago now.
Yeah, you're gonna say the same thing.
So
I'm now paying $50, so yeah.
So that sort of explains that we're going from, in the projected budget, which you can still alter, we're going from 0.502 cents to 0.481. So from 50 cents to 48 cents, we're dropping 2 cents. And that creates our budget that we've been using to kind of go through here. This is the budget, you've got the sheet in front of you. The only thing that's changed since the last time, roughly, we had to adjust.
I'm gonna ask you a question, maybe what you're gonna say, the state's requiring we pay more matching.
Yeah, retirements went up across the board, so this year was
That's gonna be
another.
over a penny.
Yeah, so that was 20,000 this year, it was 20,000 last year. They're trying to get ahead of the retirement curve, so we're hoping it's not gonna be any further. What this budget allots for, just to remind you, we've got $30,000 to start a kudzu remediation program, $20,000 for boardwalk, rail to trail is one. Sign, we've got 15 grand put in for that. We've removed a bunch of the other stuff. We are looking at one position to learn underneath Pam for a year before taking over. We've got $40,000 in contracted services, which is demolition. Everything else is pretty on board. These numbers can be altered a little bit as we get through the year and we make more money. So we're doing like we did last year, where we keep things as low as possible until we know the outcome. But things stay the same in water, sewer, and then sanitation. We just found out today that they're going up $5 a ton in trash. So that's roughly $4 grand for us. So where we have it here, we're putting $5 grand back. Basically, we're only going to be putting $1 grand back. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Everything's balanced. This is what, unless you tell us to change things, this is what we're going to present. This is what we will end up presenting next month. So it's still open for change. any kind of input you have, is greatly appreciated, as always.
I like what we see, you know, not talking about it public, but we are gonna see inflation. Steel and lumber is skyrocketing, so everything else is the problem.
Okay. Item 15, the FCC's emergency broadband benefit. Terrell?
What I have is, just for citizen engagement, information, and resources. I'd like to see 100% of our citizens take interest in, the emergency broadband benefit program and the, American Rescue Plan, so that you can keep up with those two programs. But, 80% would be good too, but the emergency broadband benefit program, that's for everybody in America. And, that program provides eligible households with discounts of up to $50 a month for broadband services and up to $75 a month for households with tribal lands. It would also provide a one-time discount of $100 for computers, tablets, for eligible households according to the FCC. So that's something that you can use with your social media. It's something that you can tell anybody across the United States. And just keep everybody in the loop and part of the government process here. And the FCC also, if you really want to keep up, they have webinars and they have the weekly meetings, and there's a place there where you can sign up and they'll actually send you updates as to what's going on with the emergency broadband benefit plan. And I do have that email address that if I call it out, you won't remember it, so. And the other program, they call it ARC, the American Rescue Plan, that the president and vice president are promoting presently. It's like a big book, of course, but if you can go to NLC.org, which is the National League of Cities, North Carolina League of Municipalities, FCC, the White House, of course, and those different departments, you keep up with everything that's going on, and you don't have to try to worry if you're going to get that information from the mayor or Zach or anybody else on the board. You just kind of keep up, and then as Zach or the mayor, whoever sends more information out, you won't be in the dark, which is what I suggest that you do. Try to keep up with that. And this too is for everybody in America. Send it out there. They don't have to be here in Tryon. And I'm on, with the National League of Cities, I'm on 2 of those boards. I was on 3. And the one that they're pushing out is transportation. The transportation and infrastructure. I was on that board, which I stayed on there. I might have some more information for you guys. But those websites will take care of everything you need to take care of. And sometimes I am in the presence of some of these federal people, some of these state senators, and so on and so forth. So anytime that you might have questions or statements or anything you want to pass along, I can do that personally. And I suggest that if you have a phone number of someone on the federal level, like a real personal number, or someone on the state, that you kind of give it, maybe to Zach, maybe to listen to that, because like this big project that Chris is having, you know, it'd be nice to have, you know, secretary or somebody, secretary, assistant secretary, whatever, to maybe come to one of those events. And if you have, I don't have direct access, but I have access that I can get to some of these people. That's it.
Okay, then item 16.
That was all of it.
If I can add to it, the emergency broadband benefit, it hasn't gone live yet, but we've signed up for basically. So whenever they come with the details on how they're gonna roll it out, everything else, we'll be able to have all the information to push out. But I've also went ahead and reached out to the FCC to ask for someone to come do a Zoom. I don't think they'll come in person, but to do a Zoom to explain everything. So we can either make that a community-oriented affair, or it can be a council-oriented affair, however you guys want to work, but.
I like the community.
And I
Well,
think,
if they go to that address and sign up for that, for those, leads back into that, they can have that already, and that, you won't get it dark when you're talking about.
you brought up something earlier, that I think that the general public thinks that whatever's happening to DC this week is gonna be out next week. But some of this stuff may take 3 years to manifest itself where we are or longer.
Yeah, that, the art program, that's, 2024. And any money that's not used, you have to get it back. And any money that's misused, you have to get it back.
I always go back and reference our water plant where we put on the fast track, almost to the day, 40 years of the fast track. To get it done. Okay, item 17, minimum housing.
45 East Livingston, gave names to the attorney, he's still tracking down the heirs to that additional parcel of property. I asked if we could purchase the property as is now and pursue obtaining the additional land with the modification to the original agreement with Ms. Porter, as she has legitimate title. I checked it out with the attorney, and he said that is something we could do. That way we could get started with the cleanup there and work on that other property while we're doing that. The estimates I've got for that cleanup are between 18,000 and 30,000. So that's for 45 East Livingston. 427 East Howard.
Would you repeat those numbers?
18,000 and 30,000. That's the range I have right now.
Is there a house on that property?
How many beds?
Just the two right now, and I have to see if the 18,000 one does not include asbestos. So, yeah. 427 East Howard, I spoke with Justin, who is Sean's coworker, and they did Melrose Inn, who was up there this morning and said it wouldn't be more than 21,000. They would put gravel up the driveway and level the top area to a mowable state, as the ordinance claims we have to. And I am waiting on one more estimate from Pace that should be here by the end of the week. But the Justin one is the 21,000 one is the only one I have at this moment for there. And 140 Grady Avenue, the owner is getting the utilities shut off and disconnected this week if they aren't already. And they are scheduling the demolition within the next few weeks. They passed on the opportunity to burn it down. And I just discussed with Jody, we're gonna see if we have to do anything to disconnect the sewer, but Grady should be getting cleaned up real soon.
18, TDA update.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So you should have a copy of this EV report in your packets. So going forward at our council meetings, I'm going to have these prepared for you just so that you all can use this time to ask me any questions that you may have. But you'll see that I've structured it under the Main Street 4-point approach. So I've organized it that way. The 4 points is basically our approach to downtown revitalization. And I've just broken down some of the activities that I'm working on by each of those 4 points. So just for example, with economic vitality, something that we're working on right now is we're exploring what it would look like to implement a municipal service district downtown. So we're working with some community stakeholders on that. For design, I recently completed and sent out an RFQ for updated branding materials and brand system for the town of Tryon. As far as promotion goes, we did vote to bring back 4 Fridays in May, so we're working on getting a team together for that. And then organization, I'm actually going to be applying for one of the Duke Energy Hometown Revitalization grants, so we're getting started on that. So that's just a way to kind of organize the activities that I'm working on. Like I said, this is something we just kind of decided to start working on. This will be given to you ahead of time for next month's meeting. And then if you've got any questions, we can talk about that.
In our document packet, our quotes from here.
Right, Cameron, for the bathrooms.
For the bathroom.
Yes.
So we discussed
We
briefly at
discussed that
the,
before you got here.
yeah, we discussed at the work session.
Too much money.
What I'll,
How much was it?
7,000.
That wasn't the
so
problem. It was 200 a month.
so
It was 200 a month, 25-year lease. That's what we were told.
So what I discussed with Mike Harriman, the total cost, we're at this point, they have to redo the bid. That should be in your handouts from tonight. Every redone bid is up to 67,000. That includes, putting in a janitor's closet, basically. That does not include the roughly 12 grand, I think, that would be the landscaping out front, the paver situation, any kind of decorative stuff. So you're looking at well into 75 to 80. And then Karen expressed to me, because I mentioned we want a long-term lease, we're not gonna put in that much money for overnight. But he,
Tell me, John. Bathroom and walk-in, walk-outs. We don't do that right.
right,
FYI, as you were thinking, this lot's building is sort of on the market.
that's,
That last property, which was a bathroom, would make a great bathroom.
We talked about
We
that.
talked about that, I thought that sold, did it not sell?
It is not. I think
So the sign came down.
it won't let you say work. I think we ought to buy it, separate that in building out, and sell the rest. That's my 2 cents worth.
I could see making an offer to you, on that. Strip of that building, but
yeah, we want,
that, you really don't wanna own that piece of property due to the fact that there's 50,000 million oil cans were dropped through the floor.
So we'll never clean up, Jay.
I'm thinking it's more of a DHEC,
Well, we had 10,000 rubber tires. That was so clean.
no,
We
we
do.
don't, we put them up.
Yeah, you keep cleaning.
But Mike Harriman stated he wanted a 25-year lease, 200 a
But
month.
you know, we're not.
And roughly that's a lot of money over 5 years.
I think we should keep looking.
I will keep looking. I will research some other stuff.
All right. Item 19, town manager report.
Hold up. So, it kind of goes over a lot of stuff we've already talked about. We did request the FCC to present to you guys. As soon as we got the advert together for the future position, we might push that out. We established a date for the East Side meeting, via Zoom, where we met with the state regarding the Braywood sewer issue again. We spoke with Diener regarding the stress unit designation, the upset bid process. We went out looking for more quotes for health insurance. We're gonna stay where we're at. Let's see, we did meet with the TDDA, some of the TDDA leadership regarding the MSD. We spoke with Main Street regarding MSD and required some different documents there. Discussions with the state of South Carolina DHEC regarding the extra inspection, which we discussed. We are planning a meeting with Diener regarding the Braywood issue. We ordered all the equipment for the latest round of the Polk County Appearance Commission grants we received. We do have a meeting with Conservative Carolina coming up regarding a potential project. Spoke with the chamber, they're bringing the Harmon Field Music Festival back. They did get in touch with you, Travis, didn't they?
Yes,
Okay.
I mean, it's not approved by anybody else yet, but yes, they asked me about a date,
Okay.
what date are they thinking?
25th of September.
We're speaking with owner 60 Packlet about improvements made to a town-owned parcel, which would be donations from the owner in the terms of the seating that we have downtown. We do have a meeting with Brad and Carolina Climbers Coalition regarding Melrose and Mountain Rock Climbing Park. We approved some plans for buoy improvements on Lake Lanier to replace the dock. Ken Lawrence with Duke is submitting the Earth and Bridge design to NCDOT for approval, and once he has that approval, he can go ahead and put the lights in the ground. Polk County has reached out about a COVID vaccine site. They would like to use McCowan Street. So we will be speaking with them. They would like to have everyone pull in, and then from there, they could get their shots, wait 15 minutes, back up, and head on out. So we may be bringing that to you. In fact, that may be something I just get blanket permission from you guys tonight.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Motion. All in favor, aye?
Great.
Opposed, likewise.
Public Works have been busy. That big water break in Vineyard, they repaired sewer on Markham and Melrose. They had some Mission Street signs they replaced. They had a lot of storm debris, around 288 man hours all over with leaves and brush. They keep monitoring Braywick. They had some response issues, flooding issues. They responded to issues due to flooding. Pressure washing the benches. It's a project going on right now, trying to wrap up before the first. Fire department had ladies' night, gave awards out. They're waiting on hearing back on the ISO inspection. They've got a lot of good training lined up, including live burns, certification practice. They have replaced Patrick Corn's position with a man named Wesley Garrett. He comes to us from Blue Ridge, and we will introduce you to him probably either the next meeting, I think. I'll double check on that. Police have done those contracts for the block system and the tasers and the body cameras. Harmon Field's been busy as well. They're actually, I do want to say that Travis and the guys are building these little, what do you describe? They're planners. They're planners in the shape of turtles and all sorts of stuff. We've got more compliments on those than probably anything that we've ever done. So it's really good. So they've been staying busy. So far, I think everything's good. And I've got my list of things to do. So if you have questions, let me know. I will shut my mouth. Yes. Yes.
I hate to go back to item number 10, I just need to clarify something on the table on the plaza. So those tables will be public tables. So if the business is open, even if somebody from the public walks up and says, "I want to eat there," it's still treated as a kind of try-on.
That's the way I would, if it's on try-on property, then it's to be able to be used by anyone.
At any time.
Right.
One second.
Let them know, I guess.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
Okay, you through, Zach?
Yes, sir.
Order tonight, then Bill Kroll, Bill Ingram, Chris, Terrell, and me.
Okay.
Oh, I want to bring up, Zach, we've been talking, and I think approval last year about fencing along, New Market Road, the old split rail. Well, Burrell's put up a split rail across the street. It looks really nice. And I think, one, it's going to be a lot cheaper than aluminum fencing. I think we ought to replace that through there with split rail.
Just bring it up to date or replace it.
Yeah, well, I mean, go through and see what's healthy. We're probably gonna need half the post replaced and half the rail.
I'm really scared for the public. I walked by there yesterday, it's pretty bad.
It is bad.
Well, you get it, the price.
Yeah.
I mean, just replace it.
Yeah, I'll go to the ag store tomorrow. I gotta go there anyway for more straw. So I'll get a price on 2 rails per section. I don't get it exactly.
It's a shame we didn't think about this 15 years ago when I was buying 4, 6, and 8 foot real raw iron. Could have bought a couple hundred feet for $1,000 and then installed it. You can't get 10 feet now for $1,000.
We need to get to it. Thanks to the staff. You got a metal detector in your arsenal toys at town?
Yes.
Okay. I want to find something down there behind the woodwork. There's a giant great drain there somewhere, but it's buried and has been for decades. And I figured that'd be the best way to find it. But anyway, thanks town, guys and girls, for everything you do. I like your report, you did it again. Sorry you bounced off the guardrail, but all things can be fixed. And no, I got hurt. Good. So, that's it.
I'd just like to thank the staff and the citizens. We have a great town. Thank you for everything. I don't know what else to say. We actually get letters from people complimenting our work. So thank you very much. Good work.
I would like to reiterate, thank you staff always, and to give you an invitation as well to a series of events. During downtown Drive, Saturday, May 1st, on a free concert for the whole community. It actually, because of several things, has received national advertising. And it's the official groundbreaking of the $2 million, 10,000 square foot municipal archive on music event celebrating the completion of the municipal plaza and the 10th anniversary of the Zenith Verdana sculpture. Please come enjoy.
We'll get there.
I have something from two, I almost say senators, two citizens. One is that between the two walkways at Garrison, the walkway stripes need to be repainted. And, Mr. Walt Brown, I think that they would come all the way to the road with his sewer line, and they can't go any further. But they were worried that town couldn't work that out for them. That's all I know. I don't know who they asked, who they talked to. They called you. I don't know what happened. I just know it's been sitting there for how long, Joe? Mr. Walt Brown, where they worked on that, I think the sewer pipe.
Gavin's been working well. I've asked them, they need to get a plumber in there instead of Gavin. We cleaned it out for him, had it cleaned, ready for him to go put back together, and then I don't know what he did, but the next week he stopped it back there again, and he's in the same issue again.
Okay, so it's not anything there on the road?
The sewer line runs over in the power, I'm gonna call it. I don't know what else to call it.
Oh, off down there on Aspen? Or wherever that is. Okay, I don't have a clue. I just reported. And I know that we've talked about ADA for the bathroom. The North Carolina League is gonna have a session May the 4th at 10 a.m. And then, you know, if you all want to check that out and maybe a video afterwards, if you don't have to do that. But I want to thank everybody for their hard work. And with this person through COVID, I want to thank you all for hanging in there. And I forgot his name. I'm going to call him his daddy. Mr. Harmon Field. I saw those planters, and I think they were for sale, right?
Yeah, we had dogs, snails, turtles, and a frog,
Yeah, those are pretty nice, so I commend you on those. But yeah, I just thank everybody for a job well done. And take care of yourselves and each other, and everything's gonna be all right.
Okay, Bill, late happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Is high school contacted you about Harmon Field yet for the seniors?
No, sir.
Okay, we're going to, he called me.
Okay.
Do we need to vote her as the voting member for that?
Yeah, that would be helpful. You're talking about the League of Cities?
Yeah, if only one of us is signed up for the League of Cities and we need a voting member, we need to appoint the mayor pro tem. Do I hear a motion? Okay, all those in favor, aye? All opposed likewise, your officials.
The conference that I'm in now? North Carolina League.
Yeah, NCLM.
Yeah, we've already voted.
So you officially voted now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I get lots of compliments. Once in a while, I get a person to complain that when I start explaining how hard y'all work and what they do, I look like sometimes they actually feel ashamed of themselves for bringing it up. But that's a true story, because you guys work your families off. I appreciate that. Okay, citizens' comments and responses. Anybody, citizen, have a comment? Please identify yourself and speak your piece, Carl.
My name is Garland Rice. I know most of you, and I want to say that the Harmon Field Dog Park's been a home run. Everybody loves that thing. It's been a great thing for the community, and I use it fairly often. Anyway, it's to be commended. I'm here tonight to represent my Howard Gap neighborhood. We've had an effort to encroach on our neighborhood for commercialization. A group of Wainscots bought the house next to the Jaeger farm, and they've done a real good job fixing it up. They've moved here, they've lived here maybe 4 months, and they have petitioned to change their zoning to R4, which allows for bars and multifamily housing. And so we organized against that. I've been working with Tim, and he's helped me a lot. We both get to know each other. I've been trying to give Tim a history lesson, because the people in the community are old timers. These are people in my neighborhood who oppose it. Gordon Hamilton lives in my neighborhood. He's on the town council of the TDTA, I believe. He's a fine citizen of our neighborhood. Brandon, John and Lucy Brandon, live right close by. They own property next to this property. They strongly oppose any kind of commercialization of our neighborhoods. They have single-handedly bought up every piece of property they could near them to try to preserve the neighborhood in its rural nature. Stonehenge Inn, which I live right next to, is owned by the Lane, Scott and Gail Lane. At the time it was being sold, there was an effort to turn it into a vineyard and a tennis club so they could serve alcohol there and have a private club. Thank goodness the Lanes bought it, because I didn't want to be looking at tennis courts or the traffic. Okay, so that was something that could have happened to the Stonehenge Inn property, but now they have reverted back to residential, and they will never be an inn or a restaurant again. And they gave up a lot to do that, so they feel very strongly about it. Mill Farm Inn, people seem to think Mill Farm Inn is still a B&B, but it is not a B&B. They haven't had it as a B&B in many years. They have long-term rentals. They have people who've lived there 8 years. So that's a misconception about Mill Farm Inn as being a viable B&B. It is not. So, the Ross, Carolyn Ross, lives across the road from me. Her family is the Pages in the same basket. Alfred and Sally Page. They're the ones who initiated R1 in our community after Stonehenge got started as a restaurant. They went about changing it to R1, shackling their property for potential value of commercialization. Pages own 100 acres, Ross owned 40. They're against it. And so now they're petitioning, coming around next month, we're going to be petitioning for conditional use. We really don't know what that is yet, but we're going to oppose that also. Apparently, I think they can have an Airbnb without anybody's input, but they want to have a B&B so that they can serve alcohol. Have a whiskey bar and a wine bar. Emily Rogers, you know her as Claire Rogers' daughter, has bought the Walcott property, not the Walcott, the Jaeger property next door. She's a young professional, her and her husband are both doctors. They have 3 young children, and she does not want to raise her young children next to a commercial effort like that. All right, so she's another one highly opposed to it. So I'm just giving y'all a heads up today. I'm trying to represent the neighborhood and let y'all know that next month you'll probably see some kind of activity concerning that conditional use. Tim has agreed to stay in touch with me, and I'm going to try to be the liaison with our community, because these are old citizens that you all know, and if you've been here any time, you know who these people are. They're good tax-paying folks, great citizens. So anyway, thank you. That's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you all. Anyone else? Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor, aye. Opposed, likewise. We're adjourned. Thank you, bud. Good luck with the job.